What's up, everyone? Welcome to Power Play with CJ. Today we're focused on the CHL versus NCAA debate, which has been raging on for many, many years. What option's the best one to the NHL? And obviously that's a totally subjective question, depending upon circumstances, all that other bullshit. But in the wake of the Charlie Coyle departure from BU to St. John, excuse me. We're gonna talk about that, talk about another couple guys that have jumped ship in recent years to go, and then talk about guys that went to college and experienced great success in the NHL. So without further ado, this past year, Connor Murphy, first round pick of the Phoenix Coyotes, committed to the University of Miami, jumped ship, went to the Saint Sting. Coyle, sophomore year at BU, halfway through last week, jumped ship, goes up to the Q. 2 years ago, Kenny Ryan at BC, without playing a game for BC, jumped ship to Windsor and wins the Memorial Cup, the second back-to-back. Cam Fowler, committed to Notre Dame, goes up to Windsor, wins that Memorial Cup. Campbell, committed to Michigan, goes up to Windsor, and then got traded to the Sioux Greyhounds. And this past year, Gibson, John Gibson, the goalie, committed to Michigan, goes to the Kitchener Rangers. And that's just in the last 2-3 years. And there's more that these are the most high-profile ones, obviously. The kid Shea from Massachusetts jumped ship. He was committed to BC, went up to the Q. Neil Shea's son. It's a gamble because you give up having a college education to focus on hockey full time, which is, you might say that's awesome. But if your career is derailed by an injury or whatnot, or you turn out to not be that great of a player, there's no degree to fall back on, and that's definitely something you got to worry about with this stuff. But on the flip side of the coin, classwork, schoolwork, homework, study hall, all that's out the window. You can focus on just playing hockey, and I think in many cases that's the best way to go. Put it this way: going to BU, do you want to be an investment banker, or do you want to play in the NHL? I gotta. If it doesn't work out, are you willing to take that risk and not have the degree to fall back on? I would, to focus on just hockey full time and do everything you can to get to the NHL, which is what your ultimate goal is as a player, right? You want to play in the show, and it's hot. It's almost impossible to get there, and once you get there, there's no guarantee of staying there. So, if that's what you see to be the best option, is it worth doing? I think yes. But on the flip side of the coin, as a college hockey fan, seeing all these great collegiate players, or could be. Half these guys never even showed up to. Murphy, Fowler, Campbell. None of those guys ever played a shit to college hockey. Coyle jumped mid-season, and I think Kenny Ryan played one game for BC. You missed out on seeing some of these great players. I would have loved to have seen Cam Fowler at Notre Dame, but he went up to Windsor and brought won a Memorial Cup, and at the end of the day, really can't complain. But it's really a Russian roulette, if you will, with the game. And like I said, there's no set guidelines on what to do. I'm just thinking of guys right there. Timmy Thomas last year, college hockey player, 2 Vezina trophies, Conn Smythe, Stanley Cup. Marty St. Louis, Stanley Cup, scoring title. Joey Newendike, 3 Stanley Cups, perennial 50-goal scorer. Jonathan Taves, 2 years at Dakota, Stanley Cup. Eddie Belfour, North Dakota, Stanley Cup. So many guys that go the college route have great success too. It's, do you want to balance coursework and hockey? Going to school is a full-time job, playing hockey is a full-time job. Are you willing to make that commitment to do both? And, you can't slack off in either one. You know what I mean? Because if you slack off on one, you bring down the other. You know what I mean? Because if you, time management, all that other shit, I think at 18, 19 years old, there's just too much on your plate to be worrying about all that. And a lot of guys do it. How many guys are, play at, the Harvards, Cornells, Yales. Kenny Dryden, for Christ's sakes, went to law school while he's playing for the Canadians. That's awesome, But, some of these guys can do it, but a lot of them just, you lose out on having a social life. You lose out on, the great college parties, if you will, the punch drinking, yoga wearing, toga wearing, fucking yoga wearing, yeah. That's some college party wearing a fucking yoga suit. Jesus Christ. But back to my point. And you get paid money to play juniors. It's a couple bucks. I heard Fowler got off of $500,000 to play for Windsor. I don't know how much that's true, but I mean, Jesus Christ, I mean that's $500,000 to play for Windsor, or college education at Notre Dame that you're probably going to leave early to go pro. And the other thing is, with leaving early to go pro from college, well, actually, that's a plus side of college. You can leave early to go pro. You can't do that with juniors. They own you. You can't play in the AHL if you're not 20 or over. Once you're, I think the CHL controls you. Whereas opposed to college, you want to leave mid-season, go pro. It may not be morally right, depending on who you ask to just walk on your teammates. But if you want to do it, you can go for it. Why not? And I think that offers the ability to play in the AHL. I think offers college a little bit of an advantage because you can say, Jack Bach, you want to be national? I'll be playing for the Providence Bruins next week. I don't have to deal with this shit. So that's obviously that's another thing that goes into that. And there's so many pluses and minuses every way. But at the end of the day, it's how many different roads to the NHL can you take? I mean, there's no one set road. This is how you get to the show. Because like I said, it's impossible to get there. It's even harder to stay. So, I mean, how many guys are great, first round picks that have all this talent and never pan out? Whereas how many guys that are forgotten about? I think that's something else college hockey does. I'll look at two guys for obviously Marty St. Louis and his teammate from the Lightning, Teddy Purcell, both undrafted collegiate free agents that had excellent NHL careers. I mean, Marty's a perennial threat for the scoring title, and Teddy Purcell is really rounded out being a great top six winger on a playoff team. So, let's that's those are great college players. And then you'll get their two teammates, Vinny Lecavalier and Steven Stamkos, both number one picks out of major juniors that have had outstanding NHL careers. So, what's the best way to do? You want an education, go play college hockey. You want the best shot of making the show, go to juniors. But I mean, like I said, even that, doesn't necessarily equate. Because like I said, how many guys in the NHL that are bona fide studs played college hockey? Jack Johnson, Eric Johnson, Zach Parisi, And Colin Wilson for Nashville, BU guy. Just Brian Suter, Wisconsin guy. Brian Elliott for the Blues, Wisconsin. I can just sit here for hours and name guys. Dwayne Rollison, he's only older than Tim Thomas, and he played UMass Lowell. So, right back at square one, where it's a crapshoot. Where do you go? So, it's going to be a debate that rages on for a long, long time until they can find a common ground. And the junior teams can recruit kids when they're 15 or 16. Where college recruiters can't talk to them when they're 17 or 18. So it's like, well, it gets dicey. And I think the other kid there, Jamie Alexiak, I don't know, decent. He left early to go play for Saginaw. And that's not a loss for college hockey. I mean, I can just think of guys, for hours and hours that bolted to play bolted the NCAA to play major juniors, and it's unfortunate, but it's the nature of the beast. It's there for the CHL versus NCAA special, the power play with CJ. Stay tuned for more episodes.